I want to go over a little bit some halachos of the minim. We'll concentrate this week on the Indian of Etzrig. People put more emphasis on picking the Etzrig and less emphasis on the lulav. Lamaisa is it's much harder most of the surogim, let's say like this, most of the surogim are okay, are kosher. The luvam, lav davka. Now it's a little bit easier because we have the deri leluvam, and people, if the people want to take a nice esrik, shouldn't have big problems. So the deri leluv, which is a little bit expensive, but it's okay. But you have the Egyptian leluvam. Till a few years there was only the Egyptian leluv. It's very hard to find the kosher leluv. But b'chal Eden, the people are put more emphasis on the esrik. The choyra wegen dem, because esrik doima lelev. Esrik doima lelev. It's mamayla. Jeder eine, looks on the heart of the shine. But lamaisa, if we learn the chassidus, we learn the mamorim, Alter Rebbe's mamar, and siddur, and andere mamorim, so we know lilav means shows on midas. Loi lev, the lamad vuv, there's the 6 midas. So Bamaila is Lilav is Bchlal is Beitzem is do a mera in them as a kochen in them. Let's go talk this week on Esrik, and the Nekidus will Necholishi began the Hilchas Esrik, because Hilchas Esrik is in Tufrash Simon Tufrash Memches. Everybody could learn it, but I want to emphasis on what is the priorities to look for Esrik. Because people sometimes mix up the priorities. For instance, that will basically be the nekidus of the nekidus. What should be the priority when we come and look for esrik? First of all, is azoi. In all the b'chlal mitzvahs of the Torah is the halacha zekai levan vayi. Zekai levan vayi. Every mitzvah has to be nice, and there's a mitzvah to pay extra for a nice talis. A mitzvah to pay extra. But by Dalad Minam, there's we mentioned us. Yeah, we made a diet in the timing, but afterwards we will be able to ask. And I assume most of the questions will be during the shir. We'll take care of it. So again, Badalat Minam, the Torah is special emphasized as velakachtem lechem pri eitz hoder. The Torah wanted the pri should be hoder. And the Alter Rebbe explains very nicely, although pri eitz hoder is only on esrik, it's written by esrik, but since in the same pasuk the Torah says kapes temurim v'arvanachal eitz uvas, since in the same pasuk, so the Torah means that the pri eitz hoder, the hoder should go on all the dalat minim. So therefore, by dalat minim there's a mitzvah, it should be hoder. Now the question begs, does that mean that if a person has a nice esrig, according to Allah it's kosher, b'mayil pshatz is hoder, and he finds a nicer esrig, is do a Indian that he should buy a nice esrig, as I mentioned before, you find a nice one, you should pay extra. Before you have to pay extra, but is do a Indian or no, since the Torah says hoder, and this goes around at the gather of hoder, so automatically I don't have to pay, or I don't have to buy a more expensive one. Is Lamasa, we see a Beferische Gemara, but the Gemara says, and the Gemara in Sech Shabbos, daf kif lamet gimel on advice, so that the Gemara say kaile man vai, he's snoy lefun of a mitzvahs, a sai lefun of sikkah, make a nice sikkah, the lil of nuah, b'shoifa nuah. So the pasuk says, the Gemara says, you should have a lil of nuah, although every liliv has to be hoder, if not it's nicht kosher, but we see there's such a thing as hoder should be in the mitzvah, is auch du in das, it should be a nicer esrig, a nicer liliv. So they will see as Zekai Mavai goes, even though it's called hoder, is du inyan of Zekai Mavai, and you should pay extra. Now what is considered hoder? What does it mean hoder? Torah says pri eitz hoder. What does it mean hoder? Zug der Rosh, parallel of Aguz Lazi Dalet, and the Mishabri brings it down to Sharatzian. that the Torah gave her over for the Chachumim. As I said, Magdir Zan, what's harder. And therefore, all the halachas which we learn, what it is goes into the category which is not harder, all these things is Chazal mas Magdir. The Torah doesn't say Huda. The Torah Tzaveg game, for Chazal, they should be Magdir. It's as if in Hilchas Yom Kippurim, we have now also, as the Alter Rebbe writes, the Chamishi Niyam zenen be'etzem min ha-Torah. So the question is, how could Chazal say that if you go on the street and there's mud, you could put on, if it's min ha-Torah, Chazal can nicht dreien Sachen mit der Torah. So the Alter Rebbe brings down also the Nikida, as the Torah hat gesucht, wir soll asan inni. Von dem hat the Torah zigeleicht, what inni, how the Allah should be, ich must alle Chachumim. So we see a concept, the Torah tells a klal, how to define that klal, Chazal haben recht to define it, it's better dreise. So therefore, zug the Rosh, as Huder is also, everyone was Chazal magdigem, was heißt Huder, what's not Huder, is the Pshat is hand at the Reise. In Mamayla darf man, we go ahead, Mamayla, therefore it's a Reise, everything was Chazal told us what's Huder. Now what's considered Huder? Zug the Mamar Motcha. Mamar Motcha writes that Huder means every place in his place, what is considered Hodder. In the United States, Hodder means one way. In Israel, a Hodder means different. So, jeder eine geht das Amukam. Ich habe getracht, viele noch mehr. In every Kehilla, what over there is Hodder, that's Indian Hodder. What do I mean? By some places, is the Iker emphasis, it should be clean. There shouldn't be any tiny blood. A Huder means it's Nuki Mikol. Other place in Bobo, for instance, they don't look on these things. You know, but not that's the Nikida. What's Huder? Has to be a nice Gidl. You know? Has to be a very nice, the Gidl has to be a nice Gidl. And the Emesaran is, according to the Mama Motch, das tak the Pshat. Jede Mukim is the Pshat, is dort, Huder is wie Zan Ingen is tak a Bobover, was besides the Huder, is the Zekalim Avayah, was schöner Gidl. But other places, weißt du, in Englisch ist mehr der Reinkeit, ist du der Zekalim Avayah. But jede Sache hat sich in seinem Platz. Just a clueless example, what I want to bring down is, as you do zwei Psilim over here, in Ba'esrik. You do a Psil of Chuser, and you do a Psil of Huder. Huder is all seven, or even Chalamoid. But when it comes to the Indian of Choser, which we're going to see, Choser, it has a hole, which the first days is Aser, Chalamoid is Hamita. So in Chalamoid, if one of your children bit into your esrig and bit up a piece, is it still kosher? So wissen. A Sache, was hat mit Huder is a problem. A Sache, was hat mit Chuser, is not the first 2 days, in Chitzlur, in Etzrug, 1 day, over here, 2 days, but not a Chalamoid. Okay, so now, what to put emphasis on by looking at esrig? Again, most of the English Yichsidam is as should be nuki. Should be any tiny drop. Lanias dati is they overlook asach andere Sachen. I want to make it clear. The Alter Rebbe in the Mechsidin for Chabad, in the Mechsidin for Alter Rebbe. Alter Rebbe had gewisse kilas, which is do mehr andere wie andere Plätze. The Alter Rebbe has more, some chimras also. There are some things which Alter Rebbe is very machma in esrig. But I want to say it like this. A dalat minim is a mitzvah sederaisa. But mitzvah sederaisa do a inyan, as mitzvah leviutzan, wie mehr shittas. Now all those to do gewisse inyonim, gewisse Sachen which Alter Rebbe will be meichen. But if a person wants to be mahader, the kailim anvai, he wants to pay for esrig, he should put his emphasis on a thing which do poskim, which hold it's not kosher. Which we're going to see some things which we see other poskim will say, some poskim will say it's not kosher, and people will put emphasis on not the right thing. And I'll give you an example. As I mentioned before, people will put emphasis, it should be a clean esrig, that you shouldn't see any dots. It's first of all, we have to know, the Alter Rebbe writes clearly, what is it considered that it is clean? How do you look? It should be clean. You take an esrig, you put it over here. And the Lush of the Alter Rebbe is, The Lush Alter Rebbe is V'hishi Ainera La'inayim. That means if you have some kind of a fleck, a dot, a black piece, which is considered shinimara, is what is the problem? V'hishi Ainera La'inayim. It should see Ainera La'inayim. When you hold it in the hand, like when you hold the thing, not when you hold it like this, when you hold the thing in the hands. Not that you should be able, you have to start looking around. It has to be in a way that you hold the thing, which you don't have to, and over there, then you see it. In the Alter Rebbe like Tzi, Nere l'rov b'nai Udam, in the Alter Rebbe like Tzi, ein Wort, was steht nicht in anderer Poiske, Bashkufer Rishoina. That means, what is the black dot make possible, if it's Lamal Mechoit or Lamat Mechoit more than one? When you hold the Estrig like this, and you turn it around and you right away see it. If, the first time, if you have to look like this, it's nicht nere l'anayim. If it's nicht nere bashkufa rishoina, only when you looked it over here, you saw it, and then you look at here, you're going to see it, that's already, that's not heißt bashkufa rishoina. So the Alter Rebbe says very clearly, in Azoi Hakimanos alle Poiskim, ab dat, which is loy nere la'inayim, when you hold it like this, you look at it like this and it's clean, you don't see anything, that's nuki b'yoser. That means that's considered clean. That's considered clean. If the first time when you took the estrig, so when you go to the estrig soicher, and you ask an estrig, and it gives you an estrig, you pick it up like this, you look around, you don't see any problem on it, when it comes to a shinimara dato, then it is huder, b'yoser, l'chol hadais. You don't have to look with a loop. People, you see in people who send them to loop. You don't need to look. The only time when you need to look is when it comes to choser. Because choser is not a problem. Choser, afil amashi, machloikas, Alter Rebbe bring through machloikas, but in Zema Machmer, that if it's choser is a mashi, first 2 days, afil amashi, so then, you have to want to see if it's a choser, or it's only a thing which looks choser, then, you have to look if chuser in it misses. Chuser misses. That means it has a hole, it misses. It's a failed shtickle. If it's failed shtickle, is even a hole nicht gefährlich. So then you need a loop. But other than you don't need a loop. So anyone who goes to the Estig Soich with a loop, just take the loop and throw it out. Leave it at home. You don't need a loop. You don't need a loop. Again, you take Estig like this. Now, this is the Choladais. This is the Choladais that kusher Estig. People put emphasis on it should be clean when you look like this, and then a mavater of andere Sachen, which is much more important. And for instance, what? Shechanura steht, the Mechaber, now that brings it down, Simmer Tuvrash Memchez, Mechaber is Siv Chuf Halef. Hayura kekarsi, if you have an estrig which is green kekarsi, which means like grass, it's green like grass, is a spusel. Is a spusel. Yura kekarsi is a psil, is a pusel. Eili im kein choizer, lamar estrig kushe kishmashi. Only when it's okay, when it's green. If you're going to leave it for a while and it's going to turn yellow, so then it's not a problem because it is going to turn yellow. The Terezu brings down, as Sengus Oshri is mashma, that even if you know it's going to turn yellow, even if you don't need to leave it, it should turn yellow. Even if you know that it is an acid which is okay, and it's going to turn yellow after a while, you could use it even when it's Yurik Karsi. You could use it even when it's green. If you don't know, it's a possible. That's the Terezu of Brengt Rubishem Agus Oshri. But the Maril steht, he was makpat not to use an esrig only when it started to turn yellow. And this is what the Alter Rebbe paskins. Alter Rebbe paskins, Yurik Karsi is possible. Why? Because in the Alter Rebbe writes, only when should you use it? When it starts turning yellow, then you can use it. The Alter Rebbe is Metzayin, the Maril, that's the Maril, the Maril, Machma Gewein. You shouldn't use it only when it starts to turn yellow. What is the time of psil of green? It's bapashtas, wie sie steht in the Alter Rebbe bringt es herup, sie steht in the Poskim in the Maril Lechadoima. Because if it's Yurke Karsi, we say it's not Nigmar a Pli. The Pli is not finished. It's not a finished esrig. It's still, boiser, so to speak. It's still a half-baked apple, half-baked acid. So therefore it's possible. Therefore, since it started to getting already yellow, so we see already it is a finished product, because if it wouldn't be finished, it would have stayed green. So when it stays green, it means it's not finished. It starts becoming yellow. That's already a reason that it is that's a reason already it's finished product, and then it's fine. Kimtos loideim. If you have an esrig which starts to get yellow, or even it's going to get yellow, or it's a nice big size, so therefore it is basically, it's just a problem. Why? And like the Maril says, once it starts to get yellow, we see already it's nigma pri, and therefore it's not a problem. And as we pass now to Lucha. But there is a Bach. The Bach gives a new reason. What is the problem with acid is Yurike Karsi? He says not because it's not nigma pri, like the Maril says, which Alter Rebbe passes like that. He says a different reason. He says the reason is because it is shinimara. It's green. There's colors which an acid should be. Yurike Karsi is a psil of shinimara, not because it's nigma pri. It might be nigma pri, but the color is the same as if it turns black. Yeah, it's possible. Yurike Karsi is a psil. Also is it. Kimtos amori de gezach. If you have as a Yurike Karsi, even if it's a nice big, a big esrik, it's still possible because it's green. It starts turning yellow. Yeah, it starts turning yellow, or even 95% it's yellow. But on top, which is very common, you have a yellow esrik, but on top, around the pitam, it's going to stay green. It is still green. According to the mill, it's not a problem. It's a finished product. It's yellow. According to the Bach, it's shinimara. Shinimara, we're going to see, is if it is mechoit me ilamalu, from it starts getting narrow ilamalu, is possible of even one piece of shinimara. Ilamatu, it's two places of shinimara. Kimtos, according to the Bach, if you have a yellow esrik, and you have on top one place where it's green, or in the bottom you have two places where it's green, what happened? It's a puzzle. Now again, the Alter Rebbe passt nicht wie der Tam. The Alter Rebbe passt wie der Tam with the Maril. As learning me pri. Aber something we have a Bach, which says as a puzzle. Not only we have a Bach, the Basmayer of dem Platz in Tuvrash Memches brings as we halt der Ritva, as we halt der Ran, Shem Haravet, as we is mashpef in der Rambam. But the Rambam get a zug, Yurike Karsi, is kosher other days. How could it be Yurike kosher other days? Ob sie leunig me pri, is other days auch nicht kosher. Al korche was in or, weil the problem is, wegen, weil der Rambam halt, ob sie in or, was leunig me pri, is, Chalamoid is auch nicht am Puzzle. How come the Rambam says that Chalamoid is okay? So al korche, the practice thinks so it's a shoulder. So we see in the Rambam holds like that, the Ritva, the Ram, the Ravet. In the Mishkanis Yankiv says, writes in the Chivas, V'ahikir kabach. The Hikir is kabach. According to the Bach, if you have one place in the Esri, which is real green, or one from Chot Melamalu, or you have in the bottom, two places which is green, is according to the Rishonim, and Bach is possible. Now again, the Alter Rebbe passt include nicht wie the Bach. The Alter Rebbe passt nicht wie the Maril, as the other reason. Enigma pri. Aber it's Homer Bach mit Rishonim, that's a puzzle. So, rather that you should go around and looking for an esrig which should be clean, which einer l'anaim, which the chol hadais is kosher, take an esrig which has tiny dots, which you don't see, letter l'anaim, which is kosher chol hadais, and make sure that your esrig shouldn't have anything which is green, as an shakab sil. Es ist instegei ochat, instegei, chotching, steigt in Sefer Menugim, we should take an esrig which is shashava, which means get yellow, because sometimes, and not a lot of times, you can see you have a nice yellow esrig, and on top, around the pitam, it stays green. It's going to turn yellow eventually, but it is green. According to the Bach, it's a brain for shinimah. So therefore, although Takar the Alter Rebbe beitsim paskin tavid maril, aber when the host zwei chimres, was ein chimre is the chol hadais kosher, and you have other which a bunch of shoynim and the Bach, the Mishknes Yankov, Paskin Laluchas is possible. This you should make more emphasis than you should looking around. Then shouldn't have any doubt. Now the Chaim Evrucha, there's a Sefer Chaim Evrucha, which a guy right before before World War II, he gave out a Sefer Chaim Evrucha on Hilchos Esrog. He Lamaisa writes here as we should make sure there shouldn't be any tiny dots of black dots. Mechoit Melamal, because Mechoit Melamal is a problem. But Lamasa, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because Hakle Moidem. In some of the Alter Rebbe's is good Shai Magdara, but all the Rishonim nitzen the Nikida that basically has to be Ner Lanaim. What in is to be machmer? So he's mamash a yuchid which holds it should be nuki. But all other poskim mamash Rishonim achronim hold that's not Ner Lanaim. If not Ner Lanaim, is a problem. So therefore, when you have these two things, what you should be looking is endeshet to look for something which shouldn't be green. Then it should be something which it is. A dat. I'll go even further. I'll go even a step further. Since we mentioned that a toyer of Esrig is a Sach, was hat Stim mit Hoder. Das hat Stim mit Hoder. In fact, by a lot of people. Since Beitzim by Yedim is a nice Esrig. You know, sometimes you have an Esrig and say, it doesn't look like the Esrig like it's on the pictures. You know, there's nice pictures. You know, a shiny picture Esrig is you know, it's people pay for that. Kimtos a mensch hat a shiny Gidl, a nice Gidl, and has tiny black with the ein Nedel I'm on top. Is och do endischer Indian take a Esrig which is nice. Take an acid which is nice, which in that community is nice. For instance, by us, is the Indian was a little the chava bis. You know, there's a Lubavitcher that also a special tzir of a toyer of esroigim. Yeah, the bis on top. So, ob dus heißt Huder bei uns dus Huder, is du endlich zu sicher als a Esrig, wie either other Esrig, wo so tiny dat, which is schnell lime, als mit der selben Kide, as a Sach, was die einer der Leim ist, the holiday is kosher, a Sach, was hat sie mit teuer, is, according to the Poiskim, is okay. And then, afterwards, I habe so getroffen noch dem, as Cheske wrote right like this, and by the Moshe write like this, that it's endlich kedai to have a nicer Gidl, then a Estig which should be clean from things which are in Ner Naim. Now remember, if there is Ner Naim Lakan, then it's a big problem. That's Shinimana, even a tiny drop. If you have a tiny dot, but it's Ner Naim, Bashkufa Rishoina, if it's Mechoit Melamalu, it's a problem. We have to remember this. And if it's Mechoit Melamatu, if it's Mechoit Melamatu, if you have two pieces, it's also a problem, which is Ner Naim, because this is the Alter Rebbe Grosei Machman. Because the Alter Rebbe writes that Din Shinimara has the same din as Chazuzis. Chazuzis is a halacha that is a machloikas. The Mechaber brings down two shittas. If Chazuzis, you have two Chazuzis, that means two bombs, so to speak, colored bombs, which and between the two there's a space which has the color of the esrik. Now the Mishnah, but Mechaber brings to about machloikas. If you have two, if in one side is possible or nicht. One shit holds even if one side is possible. Other shit holds no, it has to be roiv esrik, the roiv rindichik from the esrik. Roiv hek of esrik, only then is possible. The Alter Rebbe's got machman. The Alter Rebbe holds even on one side, it's possible. That means if a person has two black dots, I'm sorry, the Alter Rebbe's machman even two sides. That means as though it's do halten that chazuzis, which is a problem, is only a problem with Sirov Hekef. Sirov Hekef. Ob es nicht Sirov Hekef, it's nicht kein problem. Mir hat aber kein problem. The Alter Rebbe macht mal chazuzis sehr stark. Es gibt those, you can have a black dot here, you can have a black dot on the other side, or you can have it on the same side, and it's hamir, after bekan, at this local, the Alter Rebbe is not a problem. So let's remember that a black dot, or any colored dot, which is not the side that should be a esrik, but usually it's black dots, Mechoit Melamalu, one piece is a problem. Mechoit Melamatu, according to the Alter Rebbe, is also a problem. It's possible. So therefore, if it's not on line when you hold it here, it's a problem. It's a problem. But if it's not on line when you hold it over here, it's a kusher chaladais, and then you should look for other things rather than it should be clean 100%. Another thing which is people are looking very much, which is kedai to have it in mind, is a pitum should have a esrog should have a pitum. Esrog should have a pitum. If you can a kapunam, esrog should have a pitum. Why? Ich nur steht das so. Fine. Der Machaber bringt up in Tufrash Mem Chesiv Zayin Nittel Dadoi wie a Rosh Akuten sheshante boy pusel. A esrog has on top a piece of wood which is in the esrog, comes out, and then it has a shtreimel on top, sheshanta, like a rose on top. Yeah, this is how a esrog which has a pitum looks like. Zug the Machaber Nittel Dadoi. Again, the round piece on top means sheshanta. That's called sheshanta. The shoshana, that's the rose. The piece of wood which goes into the esrog is called dadoi. Zug the Machaber nittel dadoi, via rosh akuten sheshanta boy. It is the piece of wood which the sheshanta is on top of it. It's possible. Zug the dem noch in der Remu. Mir le in yandina ein lifsel elim kanit ladad, da eine erz shrosh pid molaf. Varosh nik sheshanta. Zug the Remu as oib it has a nicht herugefallen, lassen wir sagen, the pitum, the top is given, aber es ist geblieben, the interste Stickel, the Holz is okay. The Alter Rebbe do gur Michael, das kommt sie herugefallen, pitum falls off. The Alter Rebbe holds, in order of esrog should become possible when the pitum falls off, it's only when a part of the piece of wood, the dad, falls off, that means this way. Not it gets, you have an esrog, yeah? And most of the time, a pitum falls over and it falls out on the floor, it breaks. It's like a tiny piece of match. Let's assume a match. On top there is the top of it, that usually breaks off. So, more or less, when you can top, you're going to see a piece of wood which is broken this way. The Alter Rebbe says it's not a problem. It's not a problem. What is the problem? If it fell off the pitum and it took a part of the wood which goes into the esrog fell off like this, got cut off. So that means there is a part of the top of the esrog which has a hole. A part which used to be covered now has a hole. Then it's possible. Other than that, the Alter Rebbe has no problem. As we thought, the Alter Rebbe says that if this is a nicer esrog than other one, then you should take this which fell off in my hands. My child took it and fell off the sheshanta, but it's still, the wood covers the whole esrog. So the Alter Rebbe, if this is a nicer, you have another esrog which has the dadim in the sheshanta. But the esrog which fell off the dadim in the sheshanta is nicer, so the Alter Rebbe take it. The Alter Rebbe, you can take it. Aber lamas a ganze bunch of shoynim, agaf, halt nicht so. Aber noch mal, in seinem Chassid von Alter Rebbe, ins kann man sich verlassen auf Alter Rebbe, in Meile, as a fall, if you buy a nice esrog, fell down and fell on the floor, mikra din, kes machen a bruch, like tchila the first days, it's not a problem. Then, kim the Alter Rebbe, kim the Shichanur and azukt, im loy hoyle, so now, when it fell off, and there is a hole, yeah, that's possible. That's hakimoid. The Alter Rebbe is auch masking with that. If you have a esrog and the pitum fell off and there's a hole, hakimoid mas is possible. I mean, gibt jetzt der Remu in sucht im loy hoyle dad me oilam kusher. If this esrog never had a dad, never had a pitum, so to speak, it's kosher. Rav our esrogim, by the way, majority of our esrogim do not have pitums. Majority of Yanava esrogim do not have pitums. It's a rule they have a little bit more. Yanava, most of them, again, there are. But A gross heilig doesn't have pitam. Zug the alter Rebbe, how do we see if it fell off on the tree? Loi heule dat me oilam. That means oder nicht. Zug the alter Rebbe, a cloud. If you see it's cut off like that, it's a nice cut. You see your head and fell off. But if it has a hole, it's like a hole. If you're going to look at the Astrogim, you're going to see the Astrogim which does not have a pitam has some kind. The wood has some kind of hole. That's a simon who never had, so to speak, a pitam, and then it's kosher. Since it grew like that, is okay. In of them, verlot sich the Welt, they buy a Astrogim which doesn't have a pitam because has this hole. So simon is found. And most of the things fall off on the tree, but is my Michael.
So our minhag is to get Yanover, so why are you saying that we should get it with a pitam?
You should get a Yanover with a pitam, like I have. Every year I have a Yanover with a pitam, if you can. So, again, okay. Kim the what? The Rebbe had the pitam, yeah. Kim is the Rosh, yeah. The Rosh of the Lushan, loy. Pitam my oilam. Loi hoile pitam my oilam. It never had a pitam. Das a esrig is kosher. What is, if it has a pitam, again, that's also the Lushon from the Shechanurach. Im loi hoile dad my oilam, kosher. Also steht in Shechanurach. Loi hoile dad my oilam, in the Lushon Rosh, never had a dad or a pitam. What is if it is the Lushon of Yerichem? What is if it had a pitam, and it fell off on the tree? Middle of growing, which is our Astrogim, by the way. All of our Astrogim, all of them, grow on the tree when it starts growing, has a pitam. All of them. It's only eventually starts growing. The pitam falls off on the tree. So now, according to Pashas Shechanurach, according to the Rosh, my Chetai is a kusher. It had a pitam. The delusion is lo heule dat ma'olam. There are Astrogim which never had a dat ma'olam. But if you had a dad oil and fell off, if you had a dad and fell off, my Chetaise, Adus geht ran, geht in the head of the Rosh. Now so is do a sach, was willen sagen. Such a case of the Mechaber nicht machen gewesen. Hat nicht Michael gewesen. Rav Osner, in Schreivet Alai, we mitches sich also with this thing, and he says, how could it be Michael without our Astrogim, we just have a pitam, because it has an acid that fell off. Zug the Rav Osner azoi. Chotschik as mit der Luschen von der Rosh, Pashas he will be puzzle. Im kol zeh, yesh lelamatchus al hamaykilam. After he goes, yesh lelamatchus al hamaykilam, he wants to say that although Taka, it starts growing with a pitam, but since we see it falls off, so that means it's nicht echte pitam. But when fruit grows, a lot of junk grow together with it. Koitz, v'darder, all the things. And it falls off during growing. There's also leaves which are there. Maybe that this pitam means also it never had a pitam. You see, it has such a thing. That's a part of shmutz which fall off, like all those things fall off. Here's the illusion. Yes, lamatchis. Benoisef, how many kapas temurim? The famous kapas temurim from Manam Chaviv, which was 300 years ago, or even more. He writes, even the Machaber says, Lo Eidad Ma'olim, it's only if you have a tree, which the whole tree grows without pitams. If you have a tree which some has pitam or not have pitam, kannst du nicht jugen als pitam. A tree which grows without a pitam, okay, that's mitam. But not necessarily that it has a pitam, and some years not. In such case, you have to be machman, in a haltas is pusel. Now again, in Zgayman Jung Sipus, let's make it clear. Pashtas, minigo oilam, as if halter a pitam, and you had the simonum, that means it fell off when it grew in the Mamaiklas. And if it's what a esrik una pitam is a kusher esrik likitchila. But when you start going looking for a sroigim and you want to spend money, rather than looking on a small tiny dot, which is not a line, which I mentioned before, l'chol hadayis is kusher. If you can't see it like this. Rather spending money on such an esrik which is clean, spend money on an esrik which has a pitam. Because after all, in some Rosh, in some Kapas Temurim, In a filler Ravosa is yesh lamatschis. Who wants an esrig which you paid for $400, which yesh lamatschis? So therefore, what is endisher? Endisher nemen an esrig without a pitam. In wegen dem habe ich getracht, Eibig, der Rebbe ist Essig und Eibig mit der Pitam. Because of that reason. So, der Rebbe gewollt mal Essig, mit der Reise. Es ist once a year. Es ist a mitzvah, es ist a mitzvah chaviva. So therefore, it's again, es ist kusher. Also wie ich so gefriert. The green is auch kusher. Und so nehmen wir schon in der Bach. But we should know when a person wants to spend money because he wants to have their kailim havai, Huder, ze kailim avai, Yisrul lefu, esrig noah, lilev noah. What should he spend? And not any tiny dots, or, as I mentioned before, it shouldn't be green, or it should have a pitam. And why am I emphasizing that so much? Because more people are makpad that it should be clean, nuki mekol from tiny dots, than all other things. So at least, ich will bring to the attention, ich weiß, ich ziehe bei Insidus da kazoi. But in the world which I grew up, in the English world, is mainly the emphasis given on shouldn't be a nuki bakol. People paid $1,000 for an esrig, didn't have any tiny dot. If the pitam, it had a pitam, das ist nicht gewinn wichtig. Sie ist gewinn green, a bisschen nicht gewinn wichtig. Sie ist gewinn krim, that the oikets with the pitam were not straight, which is the hot ashtikl hoiker, which is kosher, but again, sie fehlt ein Huder, and he spend money, shouldn't have any pintlich. Das ist eine Kide, was ich wollte rausbringen, muss man darf kicken. But again, when it had a pitam, and nuffel, it's nicht gewonnen kalach, haben wir nicht kein problem. The essence which doesn't have a pitam has a problem, it has a hole. Is the hatanor, valoyle, dat ma'oylem, ma das beseder. But when he has a pitam, and it fell off, and it cracked this way, is a skusha. Now again, if you can have an other esrik, again, Alter Rebbe sucht sie beseder, for andere Sache, haben wir das Pasch gesagt, das ist ja ein Problem. So again, when sie do mit Sesse der Reise, and sie do Poistkem, wie anders halt, as is a problem, so therefore, although, again, in some of the Alter Rebbe's ears is a Poistik, Mamaila is a Skushel Tchilla, but we should remember, as they will machma sagen, hier, keine Wei, ist ja schmuck im Huckel auf andere Sachen, was Rishonim, was andere Rishonim asaden. A blood fleck. Yeah, we know there's such thing as a blood fleck. What is a blood fleck? It's a groß machloik sapos. We do 4 shittas what a blood fleck is. But again, we know already by now, the Sroigim Sachrim will tell you, and most of us which have a Sroigim know exactly what a blood fleck or not. And therefore, a blood fleck is nishkan problem. Why? What is the nikida? Steht so im Mechaber der Muzuk, in Tuvrash beim Chassif Yid Gimel. Blood fleck means that the acid is very, very sensitive. Very sensitive. And if you go in an acid parlance, you're going to see it's taken care with very care, and it has they cover it. It's very delicate. Sometimes you have this bladder which knock on the acid, and it gets get a scratch, and the scratch, and then it gets a scratch, and then it still grows. So the man kimt of them of epis, it's like white. That's called the blood fleck. It's not black. It's more vasish. What?
3 years ago, it wasn't. It was plenty of estrogin.
The what?
Plenty of estrogin. It was with scratches.
Yeah, scratches. Okay, but obviously.
It was a very.
But Kiddush, yeah. So zoekt of them the Alter Rebbe bringt es herup. As Thomas a blood fleck, this is nicht chazuzis. It doesn't go into the gather of chazuzis. Chazuzis hot gewiss haluchas, as I mentioned before, if it's two right next to the other. Blood fleck is the Alter Rebbe, this is nicht in the gather, and that's okay. Why? Is due to 2 reasons. The time of the Maril is because sha'ayim gevoy mishar esrik. It's not hecher vi andere esrogim. It's not. It's flat. It's a shiny color. It's a white color, but you don't. When you touch it, it's flat with the rest of the esrik. Then there's a trimsadeshu which has a different reason, because it's considered mara esrik. It's considered mara esrik. What is the difference between these two reasons? According to the Maril, if it's the same color, it's a blood fleck, but it sticks up a drop, it will be a problem. Well, the whole heter is a blood fleck is okay because einen gewoim. According to the demonstration, is the reason, no, but that's called Mara Esrik. Now, even if it's a little bit higher, I don't care. Makes up his lecher. As long as it is Mara Esrik, as long as it's a blood flag, this is Mara Esrik, is okay. So, gibt es a größer Nafkemine. What is the reason? The Poisken Pasken, the Mishtembriere mit andere Poisken Pasken, as that if it sticks up a little bit more, it has a little tiny, sigyogevoy a little bit, we should be machmal like the maril, and we shouldn't take it. Only b'shas hatchak, then we could rely on the trim sedation. B'shas hatchak, we could rely on the trim sedation. That the second reason is the main point. The Alter Rebbe Lamasse, is your machmal trim sedation. But the Mishtembriere mit a ganz andere Posten suchen, as we could rely on the trim sedation only b'shas hatchak. So now again, we're going to the same nikida. Willst machmer sein auf a Sache? What should you be a machmer? Nur kimiko, because blood fleck we very mighty. Bechral, the Welt is mighty belangrijk because it's very it's not that easy to find a string which shouldn't have any blood fleck. So it's more, I can put them in the $100 range, still $100 range, $120 range, you're going to have some kind of blood fleck. So we have to remember, if it's gevoya, mashu gevoya lamalu, then it's a problem. Because according to the Maril, and according to the Mishtembriere in other poskim is not a b'shas hatchak. So therefore, if you want to spend money, what should you spend money? Make sure not to have a blood fleck which has some kind of bump. If it's straight, is that's the removes of the blood fleck. But if it's not straight, which a lot of them is not straight, it goes up a little bit. So therefore, is according to their poskim. So again, what should you spend? Spend on tiny dots which you don't see, or on such a thing. So just to sum it up, what we just heard is like this. An estrig which you take like this, it is about 10 inches away from your eyes. And you don't see anything, bashkufa rishoyne, the first time you see it, you don't see, you turn it around, you see it, it's clean, you have no issue more. It's not an issue. Al-Khaladai is kosher. Don't take an estrig and start looking like this, going out on the street, looking on, you have a regular estrig, regular lighting, don't take a loop, all these things. We have a hole, then something else. Then you should have a loop or show it for a rough. That's already Shana Shaila. Because in the Machmar of the Alter Rebbe Pas in the Machmar of a hole, even a tiny kamashi, so machloikas, this has to be a mashi or the keisa in the Machmar of the kamashi, so therefore show it to a rough.
So all through and through?
No, even not through and through. Some poskim hold, the other shit holds, has to through and through. We hold no. That obviously chuser mashi is even a tiny hole is also a problem. So therefore, such a case you have to take it to a rough, to a mimcha should see if it's chuser. But other than that, you don't need a loop. And what is kedai? If you want to spend money or be machmer, if you have the time, try to make sure there shouldn't be any green kekarsi, real green. I'm not talking about greenish. There shouldn't be any places on the estig which has green. And again, if you could have a esrig which is has a pitam tuvu ulav brucha, that's a choshev azach. And kemivan ocher, the third thing which we mentioned, a blood fleck shouldn't stick up on top because that's also a lot of poskim haltas is possible. Just want to finish with one thing. Acute halacha. The Shechanurich steigt azoi, a esrag yuvish is pusel. Esrag yuvish is pusel. Yovish is pusel. What's Yovish is pusel? How do we, the Alter Rebbe says it's very hard to check if it's Yovish. How do you see if it's Yovish? There's no Jews. It's very hard to check, but if you take a needle with a string and you put it through it is pusel. No, one way, there's a stiffer way which you could check it, it's a Najah pusel. Aber das steigt, if it's Yovish is pusel. Zug steigt aber the Shechanurich. If it's from last year, is for sure it's Yovash and it's possible. So if you have your acid from last year, you used last year, don't use it this year. So tells, I have a cousin, his name is Ramoshe Brandzafer. Ramai Brandzafer is the son. He's a poisek in Yishleim. People see him a lot. Because he gives us komos and he likes to make a noise. So, he told me a very interesting story. He says, the Toldos of Rabbi Yitzchak Rebbe got from one of his gevirim in America a beautiful esrik. You mean, he paid a lot of money. told us, Mitzvah looked at it, Mamash was half a failure, was before Sikkis, a week or 2 or 3 before Sikkis. So, where did he took the Estrig? He puts it in the safe. Locks it in the safe. That was done in Shuma, nobody should touch it, nobody should touch it. Comes before Sikkis, he looks for his Estrig, all over his house he doesn't find it. He looks, he doesn't find it. What happened? He bought a new Estrig. The Gewir is only geworden as an entire Estrig, which is paid $1,000, $2,500, $2,000. The Rebbe didn't use it because, he didn't find it. Comes middle of the year, he opens up his safe, he sees the box Estrig licks in the safe. Nice, over there, nice. So he asked her, my Branzer was the poisik for the Tolzah Rebbe, the careless Tolzah Yitzchak. He asked her, my Branzer, can I, it was before Sukkot, the next year Sukkot, may I use it or not? Estrig, Ayuvish is Pusel. In Shechanur Shtayt, Estrig, was from last year is Pusel. This is from last year. Can I, but he opened it up, it was beautiful, it was nice. I'm a havlas, so I vacuum packed in a safe, sealed. Can I use it or not? So he tells me, Maya says, I want to think it over, so Shayna Shala. And he came back, you could use it. And it Madai gave an Alter Rebbe. The Lush von der Alter Rebbe ist ein bisschen anders wie von anderen Schweinen. Der Alter Rebbe sagt das so. Alter Rebbe sagt der Luschen, Ja, weiß man sich. Dann sagt er, ja, that's right. Ja. Ja? And he used it last year?
Yes.
Das ist ein Appell. Das ist ein Chiddisch. Weil der Alter Rebbe sagt das so. Alter Rebbe sagt, Estrig Ayushin ist Pusel. Estrig Ayushin Pusel. Und der Alter Rebbe sagt die ganze Sache, und da kann ich beudig sein, weil es wird Aschir. Aber er like see, the illusion is, Estrig Shebirach Ulaf Shuna Shoavra. Estrig Shebirach Ulaf Shuna Shoavra. So es sich usen jetzt, was ist sicher Ayuvish. Hat er Madai gewähnt, Afke, Birach Ulaf. Because when you have it outside, first of all, the tappen, the shim ala finger, and the air is wet as Ayuvish. When it was in the safe, in the Alter Rebbe zog the Luschen, Estrig Shebirach Urav Shunish Avra. Alter Rebbe zog Estrig, which is from last year. Shebirach Urav Shunish Avra. Zog the Alter Rebbe gezog, that's the one Birach Urav Shunish Avra. You didn't Birach Shunish Avra, so therefore it's a kusher, and you could use it. This is the story what he told me. A very nice, cute, and that shows also wie Ramai Madai gewinnt, Alter Rebbe. Weil er gewinnt, Tamad from Mahersh, hat er gewiss, dass er mit Madai gewinnt, Alter Rebbe. What? Yeah, higayon. Yes. You don't touch it with your fatty hands. You don't use it. Use it when we shock it, we have to. It's of the liften. It's a Messiah, I'm a